Have you ever wondered what the wildest places on Earth truly look like when nature is left completely in control? Beyond familiar destinations, vast regions remain untouched, where mountains rise in isolation, forests stretch without end, and oceans collide with land in powerful and unpredictable ways. In these environments, extreme climates, shifting landscapes, and untamed ecosystems create conditions that are both breathtaking and unforgiving. Each location reflects millions of years of geological change, where raw natural forces continue to shape the planet in real time. Join us as we explore the wildest places on Earth, where beauty and danger exist side by side in landscapes few will ever truly experience. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, China. Rising through the clouds like floating islands, more than 3,000 quartz pillars in Zhangjiajie create a breathtaking vertical maze of stone. In 1982, this became the first national forest park in China, and in 1992, it was recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. Some of these pillars rise to about 1,312 feet, with widths so narrow that in some places they are only a few arm spans across, yet they have remained standing for millions of years. On top of these sharp rock walls, rich green forest still grows, creating a beautiful contrast with the thick mist around them. The experience here is not for the faint-hearted, with an outdoor elevator about 1,070 feet high and a glass bridge hanging at about 984 feet above the ground. This unreal appearance later became the real-life model for the floating mountains in Avatar, leaving the whole world amazed. The Great Australian Bight is a massive geological tear of the Australian continent, where cliffs over 200 feet tall fall straight into the ocean. The region formed about 100 million years ago, when Australia split from Antarctica, leaving a fractured edge shaped by wind and water. Waves from the Southern Ocean can rise above 50 feet, smashing the cliffs and sending white columns of water into the air. Each year, over 20,000 whales migrate through these waters, turning it into a natural highway for the giants of the sea. Sunlight passing through salt mist creates a silver-blue glow, making the ocean change color throughout the day. The Great Australian Bight is not for relaxation, but the edge of the world itself, where land, wind, and sea merge into an ancient living form. Mara Salt Mines, Peru. Hanging on the slopes of the Andes at more than 11,000 feet above sea level, this huge, handmade salt system appears like an ancient masterpiece. Built from about 200 to 700 AD, it has lasted strongly through many centuries. Its wonder begins with a small crack that brings salty water from inside the mountain, then carries it into thousands of pools where it dries under the strong sun. With more than 3,000 pools stacked together, the whole place looks like a shining white dragon-scale carpet glowing like silver in a red-brown valley. Here, rare pink salt is still collected fully by hand, using a method that has stayed almost unchanged for more than 500 years. To protect this special resource, visitors have been completely banned from stepping into the salt pools since 2019 in order to preserve the heritage. Komodo Island, Indonesia. Like a piece of prehistoric earth left in the sea, this place has dry, sharp hills that look like the back of a giant monster lying still. This whole island, covering about 151 square miles, is home to more than 2,000 Komodo dragons, the largest lizards left on Earth. Komodo dragons do not kill prey with bacteria as many people once believed, but with venom that can quickly lower blood pressure and stop blood from clotting. The landscape feels even more unreal because of its bright pink beach beside clear emerald turquoise seawater. Lying between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, the waters around the island are rich in nutrients, creating bright coral reefs and one of the richest marine ecosystems in the world. The island was recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site in 1991, helping protect the largest lizard on Earth from disappearing because of human actions. Serengeti, Tanzania, and Kenya. Spreading across nearly 12,000 square miles, this land appears like an endless sea of grass and a stage of survival where the laws of nature are shown in their rawest form. Each year, it witnesses a great wonder as more than 1.5 million wildebeest and hundreds of thousands of zebras move in an almost endless loop in search of food. It is also one of the fiercest battlefields on Earth, with more than 3,000 lions and 1,000 leopards turning every part of the land into a never-ending struggle to stay alive. The plain changes with the rhythm of life, from bright green and full of energy in the rainy season to a dry yellow ocean when the dry season arrives. Almost unchanged for about 1 million years, the ecosystem and landscape you see today still carry the look of a prehistoric world left almost untouched. Spending a night camping here means getting used to the ground shaking softly from the roar of lions echoing through the dark from far away. Yellowstone National Park, United States. Founded in 1872, Yellowstone was the first national park in the world, and it also holds more than half of the planet's hot water areas. The frightening truth is that the whole place lies above a giant volcanic mass about 50 miles long, so the ground here has never truly been calm. Between deep canyons and wide pine forests, the pools shine in green, yellow, orange, and red, making the land feel like another world. But those colors come from countless tiny living things, surviving in toxic water where most other life cannot live. Even the huge bison may look slow, yet they can suddenly rush forward very fast. So almost every year, some visitors are attacked because they wrongly think these animals are gentle. And the coldest truth is that the hot pools and smoking mud here have killed or badly burned more visitors than all wild animals combined. Pali Coast, United States. Welcome to an untouchable natural fortress where giant jagged cliffs about 3,937 feet high tear straight down into the edge of the ocean. Over a very long time, heavy rain and strong winds carved the mountain walls into deep folds with narrow valleys and huge waterfalls between them. The landscape stands out with red rock, green plants clinging to steep cliffs, and white waves crashing again and again against the shore. But behind that beauty is a very dangerous coast, where waves can rise to about 39 feet, and thick fog with sharp hidden rocks has caused many deadly shipwrecks. The only way to enter by land is to risk your life on a broken, narrow trail that is barely wide enough for one footprint. One wrong step, and you could fall hundreds of feet into the crashing abyss below with no second chance to come back. Studlagil Canyon, Iceland. Few people know that this wonder was once hidden under a powerful glacial river for thousands of years, until a dam was built and suddenly revealed its secret beauty. When the water dropped, it exposed a vast maze of basalt columns rising up to about 100 feet high, forming one of the most unique landscapes in Iceland. What makes it even more unusual is that these columns are not random, but shaped into clear hexagons that fit tightly together like a wall built with perfect precision. Below these stone walls, a bright turquoise river flows through, creating a sharp contrast with the dark grey rock that looks almost unreal. Yet this beauty never stays the same, because during heavy rain or strong ice melt, the water turns grey and violent, rushing hard against the base of the columns. This constant change between calm and power makes it one of the most striking places where nature creates beauty and breaks it again at any moment. Göreme National Park is a vast landscape in central Turkey, known worldwide for its unusually dense concentration of naturally deformed rock formations. The area is recognized as a World Heritage Site due to the rare coexistence of volcanic geology and long-term human settlement within the same environment. The dominant rock layer is compressed volcanic ash, softer than typical stone, yet stable enough to endure over very long periods. Geologists estimate that erosion mainly occurred over roughly 8 to 10 million years through continuous exposure to wind and water. Living directly inside the rock helped inhabitants reduce climate exposure and limit external environmental threats. The entire region is classified as selectively eroded volcanic terrain, a landform rarely preserved at such a large scale. Lysefjord, Norway. Lysefjord feels like a bright cut reaching into Norway, where still water lies trapped between cliffs so steep they almost take your breath away. Its name means light fjord, coming from the pale grey granite walls that reflect into the deep, mirror-like water below. The fjord stretches for about 26 miles and was carved by giant glaciers over millions of years, then shaped clearly after the Ice Age around 10,000 years ago. On both sides, cliffs rise nearly 3,281 feet straight above the water, forming a massive stone corridor that feels both majestic and dangerous. It is also famous for a wooden stairway, with 4,444 steps along an old pipeline route, and for huge rocks wedged between mountain cracks as if they are defying gravity. Between calm water, towering walls, and unpredictable winds, this place is not only a glacial landscape, but also a sanctuary for climbing, base jumping, and those who want to touch the edge of fear. Hoh Xil, China. With an average elevation of more than 14,800 feet, this is one of the highest and widest wild regions in the world, with almost no sign of human life because the conditions are too harsh. The landscape stretches endlessly, with towering high plains surrounded by mountain ranges covered in bright white snow all year. Although it looks like a dry desert, Hoh Xil has the highest density of lakes in China, with thousands of large and small lakes formed by melting ice. But Hoh Xil is special not only for its landscape, because it is also the most important protected home of the Tibetan antelope, an animal once hunted close to extinction only for its wool. Their wool is so fine that a large shawl can pass through a ring, but making one such shawl requires the skins of about 3 to 5 animals. For that reason, the safest way to cross this land is by train with pumped oxygen, because stepping outside onto the plateau could become a death sentence for many people. Mount Etna stands on the island of Sicily in Italy and is the largest active volcano in Europe, and it is also one of the most studied volcanoes in geological history. The volcano formed about 500,000 years ago when tectonic plates beneath the Mediterranean collided, pushing magma upward and slowly building the mountain layer by layer with hardened lava. On its slopes, vast fields of black lava stretch like a frozen sea of stone, where cracked ground and empty land create a landscape that looks like another planet. More than 200 vents and fissures spread across the mountain, forming a giant network of geological cracks that keep reshaping the land after repeated eruptions. Even while living beside an active volcano, many local people still grow crops on the mineral-rich volcanic soil, turning a dangerous land into a long-standing place to live. Mount Etna was recognized as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 2013 because it is considered one of the most important natural laboratories for studying volcanoes. Banff National Park, Canada. Set in the Rocky Mountains, Banff was founded in 1885 and became Canada's oldest protected park, with a beauty so bright that many people think it looks edited. Its most striking feature is the turquoise lakes, because very fine rock dust in the water makes the light appear unusually bright. From there, the whole area appears with bright white snow, cold grey cliffs, and dark green conifer forests stretching across the mountain slopes. But few people know it began with greed, when 3 workers once tried to take the hot springs for their own profit. That forced the government to step in quickly, take back control, and turn this land into national property. Even so, behind the beauty remains a heavy memory, because thousands of prisoners were once held here and forced to work through freezing winters. Shiprock, United States. In the middle of flat desert land, Shiprock suddenly rises like a giant dark tower about 1,581 feet high, and it is the hard center left from a volcano that died about 30 million years ago. From above, people can see long walls of rock spreading from its base, looking like the backbone of a strange creature lying in the dry, burning land. In the desert heat that makes the air shake, this dark mass from far away looks like a huge sailing ship moving across a red sea of sand. But for native people, it is not lifeless stone, but a sacred bird that carried their ancestors across the barren land and then turned to rock to protect them. That is why, since the 1970s, native people have completely banned climbing this rock after many deadly accidents, and they see it as punishment for disrespecting sacred land. All of this creates a powerful view where the hard blue sky, the cracked yellow desert, and the cold black rock stand against each other like a mark from an ancient world. Bosque de Piedras de Pampachiri, Peru. At more than 13,000 feet above sea level, this place looks like a giant stone army standing still in the cold and empty land of the Andes. This stone forest, covering about 148 acres, is the result of violent eruptions about 4 million years ago, leaving tens of thousands of rocks as high as about 49 feet. From far away, they look like giant rocks weighing thousands of tons rising across the plateau, but they are actually quite light because they are filled with countless tiny holes inside. Because of that, people carved into the rocks to survive the cold, and when fires burn, smoke rises from the tops and makes the whole field seem alive. So even though many people call it the Smurf Village, that gentle name cannot hide the hard life of the local people. Yet, on that same cold, dry land, the night sky is so clear that people can see the bright core of the Milky Way with their own eyes. Moray, Peru. From above, this masterpiece in the Andes looks exactly like a giant fingerprint pressed into the earth. In fact, this hole, about 98 feet deep, was a clever climate machine, creating a temperature difference of about 27 degrees Fahrenheit to copy around 20 different weather zones. Ancient people also brought soil here from many distant regions, turning the terraces into a testing ground where crops slowly learn to survive harsh conditions. With stone walls about 7 feet high that could withstand earthquakes and a hidden drainage system below, this great funnel has never flooded even in the worst rainy season. Right here, the Inca helped develop about 3,000 kinds of potatoes, opening the way for a food source that later saved millions of lives. Today, visitors are completely forbidden from stepping down into the bottom, forcing modern people to stop at the rim and respect the great intelligence of their ancestors. Congo Rainforest, Democratic Republic of the Congo. At the heart of Africa, this green lung covering about 500 million acres holds part of the planet's breath as the second largest rainforest in the world. Ancient trees rising to about 200 feet form such a dense roof that rain can take as long as 10 minutes to reach the ground. Flowing through its core is the Congo River, the deepest river on Earth, with depths beyond about 720 feet and violent power hidden underwater that can seem calm. Beneath the wet forest floor lies peatland, storing about 30 billion tons of carbon, a huge amount equal to around 3 years of all human emissions. This is the only homeland of the bonobo and also an important refuge for giant gorillas among the mineral-rich forest swamps. With more than 250 ethnic groups living here, it forms a deeply complex cultural map where people have learned to adapt to nature for thousands of years. Okavango Delta, Botswana. In the heart of the burning Kalahari Desert, the Okavango Delta appears like a magical mirage, with endless stretches of emerald green spreading across the land. The life of this place is fed by a river that never reaches the sea, but instead spreads into countless clear channels that shine like crystal in the desert. Because of that, it gathers a huge concentration of wild animals, from massive elephant herds, lions, and leopards to thousands of hippos and crocodiles waiting in the water. Unlike the usual image of a muddy swamp, the water here is clear because it has passed through layers of sand and thick roots, forming channels bright as glass. Inside that water maze, thousands of small islands began as ancient termite mounds and slowly turned into thick green oases rising above the flood. This endless movement of water, sand, and life has made it one of the strangest landscapes in Africa, where nature seems to work against the rules people expect. Great Barrier Reef, the largest coral reef system in the world, is one of the most famous tourist destinations in Australia. Great Barrier Reef was recognized as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1981 and was named one of the 7 natural wonders of the world by CNN. This place was formed from around 3,000 separate coral structures, built from coral sediments that began developing over 500,000 years ago. Great Barrier Reef includes about 2,900 individual coral reefs with many shapes, bright colors, and sizes, creating a vast and rich sea of coral. In addition to coral, marine life here is extremely diverse, with about 1,500 fish species, 5,000 types of mollusks, and more than 175 bird species. If you enjoy adventure, you can dive deeper and freely observe marine creatures such as crabs and starfish near the coral reefs. Mount Cook is known for its harsh weather conditions, with frequent snowstorms and strong winds, making climbing a highly dangerous challenge. From elevations over 10,000 feet, you can see the entire interconnected glacier system stretching for miles, creating an almost surreal experience. Despite over 20,000 climbers attempting to reach the summit every year, only about 40% succeed, primarily due to rapidly changing weather conditions and the harsh terrain. Mount Cook is not just a challenging peak, but also a national symbol, representing perseverance, strength, and the bond between humanity and nature. This is where Sir Edmund Hillary trained before conquering Everest, refining his survival skills in one of the most extreme environments. An interesting event occurred in 2018, when a Japanese climber survived for 3 days at 10,500 feet, relying solely on melted glacier water from within an isolated ice cave. Socotra Island stuns visitors with dragon's blood trees shaped like upside-down mushrooms and red sap that looks like blood from another planet. The island has been isolated from the mainland for over 6 million years, creating a totally unique ecosystem found nowhere else on Earth. About 37% of its plants exist only here and would go extinct without this special habitat. Its landscape includes stone deserts, limestone peaks, untouched beaches, and strange trees that look like natural sculptures. The tree's resin was once used as dye, incense, and medicine in ancient cultures. In 2008, UNESCO listed Socotra as a World Heritage Site for its unique biological importance. Drakensberg Mountains, South Africa, and Lesotho. Rising like a giant wall about 621 miles long, this place is known as the Roof of Southern Africa, with sheer cliffs climbing higher than 11,155 feet. That unbroken steepness creates waterfalls that plunge from astonishing heights, giving the whole landscape a beauty that feels both grand and fierce. Most striking of all is the second tallest waterfall on Earth, falling from about 3,281 feet, yet often torn apart by wind into mist, hanging in the air before it reaches the bottom. When fog rolls up and hides the lower slopes, the sharp peaks appear like a structure floating in space, creating a view that feels mysterious and almost unreal. That wild beauty becomes even more unusual because summer brings fields of bright flowers, while winter covers the high peaks in white snow, a very rare sight in Africa. Deep inside its caves are more than 35,000 ancient rock paintings, making this place not only a natural wonder, but also one of humanity's great cultural treasures. Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world, reaching about 29,000 feet, becoming the ultimate standard for height on Earth. The landscape here looks unlike anywhere else, with layers of ice and rock stacked into massive, sharp shapes that show almost no signs of life. Huge glaciers move slowly across steep terrain, creating deep cracks and broken ice surfaces that feel like a dangerous natural maze. The summit is often covered by long streams of snow that look like white smoke flowing through the air and can be seen clearly from far away. The air at high altitude has only about 1/3 of the oxygen compared to sea level, making every step feel heavier, as if carrying invisible weight. The entire area feels like a separate world, where space, light, and terrain combine to form an extreme and unusual environment rarely seen on Earth. Lake Baikal appears as a lake more than 25 million years old, with a depth beyond 5,300 feet, giving it a powerful sense of ancient scale. Its natural clarity of more than 130 feet makes the surface feel like a blue window opening into a world untouched by daily rhythm. Baikal was recognized as a World Heritage Site in 1996 for its depth, geological age, and ecological value found nowhere else. The lake's extreme purity allows some ice samples to measure close to distilled water, making it one of nature's rarest natural conditions. A 2018 survey recorded more than 2,500 endemic species here, many of which exist nowhere else on Earth. And when you arrive, you can lie on the clear ice and watch ancient air bubbles resting beneath you as if suspended outside of time. Tsingy de Bemaraha National Park, Madagascar. Appearing like a giant stone maze covering nearly 600 square miles, this place is filled with countless sharp spikes rising straight into the sky and making the ground look like a dangerous natural trap. Even its name feels like a warning, because in the local language, Tsingy means a place where people cannot walk barefoot. This land holds two extreme worlds, with the peaks exposed to heat of about 104 degrees Fahrenheit, while the narrow cracks, about 164 feet below, become dark, wet, and cool like a hidden forest. Even under such harsh conditions, it remains a safe haven for lemurs that can leap quickly across the sharp stone points with almost no injury. In the past, this thorn-like maze of stone served as a natural fortress that protected local people from slave hunters. Today, anyone who wants to go deep into this landscape must climb near vertical rock walls with safety gear or hold their breath while crossing thin rope bridges hanging above deep chasms.